learned on Monday, so now we're going to actually dive into some examples of how we deal with unit rates. Alright, so here's the first example that I'd like for you guys to write down. Alright, let's say that you work for 4 hours and you make $33. What do you think I'm going to want to know from that? If I'm looking for a unit rate, what are we going to want to know about that? Blake?
How much money you make per hour?
Very good. So I'm going to write it like this, dollars per hour, question mark. Alrighty, so the order in which you are writing a unit rate is the order in which you are going to divide. So we're making $33 for 4 hours. So we're going to take 33 divided by 4. Since you have a handy dandy calculator today, use it, okay? I'm all about mental math and all about working it out by hand, but today is one of those days where we're going to use the calculator to make our job a little easier.
132.
All right, Dion?
8.25.
8.25. How did you get 8.25? You got it. Very good. Alrighty, labeling is going to be really important in this section, so please make sure you guys put the dollar sign with the 8.25, and then make sure you put per what? We're talking about per hour. Alright, questions about example number 1? Alright, let's move on to example number 2. Alrighty, let's say that you spend $9.03 at Joann Fabrics, and you purchase 7 yards of fabric. What do you think I'm going to want to know this time if we're talking about unit rates? What are we looking for this time? Kayla?
The cost for 1 yard of fabric.
That's exactly right. We're going to be looking for the cost per yard. Okay, so we'll write that down as our question mark piece. Alright, so what math are we going to do on our calculators? Riley?
9.
You got it. $9.03 divided by 7 yards. Alright, go ahead and work that out. Ethan, I haven't heard from you yet, so I'm going to have you give us the answer this time.
$1.29.
Very good. And how are we going to label that? You said $1.29, and what should I have after that?
Per yard.
Very good, per yard. Alrighty, any questions about those unit rates so far? We good? Okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and erase that then. We're going to go ahead and move on to example number 3. Alright, example number 3. Now we're going to look at some medical stuff here. Alright, let's say that the doctor puts you on a treadmill and has you run on that treadmill for 3 minutes. During that time period, they are looking at your heartbeats, and you have 210 heartbeats in that 3-minute period of time. What do you think that we're going to be looking for this time if we're looking for a unit rate? What are we looking for this time? Dion? You got it, beats per minute. So that's going to be our question, beats per minute. Alright, this one you probably can work out in the head, right? Because it's pretty easy to take 21 divided by 3. Just got an extra 0 there that we have to attach. Alright, so Tata, what did you get?
I got 7 beats per minute.
How did you get it?
210.
You got it, very good. So 70 beats per minute. Now, you are welcome to use the word per, like we have in the first 2 examples, or notice what I did this time. In the labeling, I just used a slash there. Alrighty, example number 4. I'm going to make you think a little bit more on this one. Alrighty, so any of you have parents that work in a warehouse, like Amazon or a car manufacturer's warehouse? Okay, very good. Alright, so at a warehouse, a lot of times they're going to be having a certain goal that they want everybody to meet. For example, when my husband used to work in a warehouse in his younger years, they would have to pick cases, and they would have to stack those onto pallets, and he had to get so many cases on a pallet or loaded up into a truck in a certain period of time. So this is kind of a warehouse example. Let's say that there is a warehouse that is able to assemble 2,600 parts, and they do that in 3 hours and 15 minutes. Now, where things get a little strange on this one is we're dealing with a time that includes hours and minutes. For this particular question, I want to know how many parts can they assemble per hour? All right, any thoughts on what we're going to have to do here since we have like the hours and the minutes together? What might we have to do if we're talking about 3 hours and 15 minutes? Blake?
Convert 15 into hours.
Sure. How do we convert 15 minutes into hours? What are you guys thinking here? We gotta take 15 minutes and we gotta convert it into something hours. How would we go about that? Tata?
Well, you know that, 4 15s equals 60 minutes and 60 minutes equals an hour. So then, 15 out of an hour would be 1/4.
Very good. All right, that was awesome. Let's even represent as a visual here. I'm gonna take what he said and put it in visual form. He said there are 4 15 minutes that make up an hour. All right, because there's 60 minutes, right? And if we are talking about just one section of that, one of those 15 minutes, then this would be 1/4 of an hour. Now, I don't necessarily want to work with a fraction, so could we change that into a decimal then? What would 1/4 be, everybody? 0.25, you got it. So 15 minutes is the same thing as 0.25 hours. So when we're working out this problem, let's go back to what we're looking for. How many parts are assembled per hour? We're going to take 2,600 and then we're going to divide it by the 3 hours. But remember, 15 minutes is the same thing as 1/4 of an hour. So it's going to be 3.25. Is there anybody that's not okay with that? Okay, all right, so go ahead and work that out. Is your answer working out nice and friendly into a whole number? Lauren, what are you getting? 2,600 divided by 3.25. All right, very good. So we're gonna write that as 800 parts per hour is what they're able to assemble in 1 hour. Alrighty? And that's gonna help someone who actually owns the warehouse or manages the warehouse. They're gonna be able to make some decisions on how many employees they need. If they have an increase in parts, they're gonna have to know how many extra hours those employees are gonna have to work, how much overtime they're gonna pay. So this is definitely a real life type of example there. All right, now what we're going to go into is we're going to be looking at some cost comparisons. All right, so this specifically is looking at unit cost. All right, so it's a unit rate, but we're specifically talking about money. And we are going to be looking at what is the better buy. And when you guys go grocery shopping, this is something that you should be doing all the time. Trying to figure out which brand is going to give you the better buy, which thing that's on sale is the better buy. Just because something is on sale does not necessarily mean it's the better buy, and we're going to look at that next week by getting out some grocery ads. All right, so here's our first example of unit cost. All right, so there's a 3-pound bag of potatoes, and its cost is 89 cents. But then over here, we have a 5-pound bag of potatoes. And its cost is $1.59. The question is, which one is the better buy? All right, what do you think we're going to have to do? How are we going to start off this problem? We need to know the better buy. Michaela?
What I would do is I would do the 89 cents divided by 3 for the 3-pound bag of potatoes, and then then I would put that into like a fraction.
exactly how we wanna start. So we wanna figure out the unit cost by taking the cost divided by the quantity of each one. Okay, so write that down. When figuring out unit cost, we just take the cost divided by the quantity. Alright, so we're gonna start off by taking the 89 cents divided by the 3. That's gonna give us our first. And then we're gonna take the $1.59 divided by the 5 pounds. And then that's gonna give us our unit cost. Alright, so I should be able to call on anybody here. Go ahead and work it out. Alright, Briara, tell us about the 89 cents divided by 3. What did you get on your calculator?
0.29666.
Okay, you can stop right there. Very good. Alright, I'm gonna keep it right there and we're gonna come back to it in just a second. Alright, let's see here. Pearl, tell me about the $1.59 divided by 5.
Divided by 5?
Because for the $1.59 you get 5 pounds of potatoes.
0.382.
0.318, like that? Okay, very good. Now, let's talk about these. This is a cost, right? We're looking at money. How many digits are after a decimal point in money, everybody?
2.
2, so here's what I want you to do. We're gonna go 2 places after the decimal point. We're gonna draw a line like this. 2 places after the decimal point, draw a line. Now, when working out unit cost, you wanna round to the nearest hundredth. So we're gonna use the next door neighbor. So in this case, this is a 6. We're gonna ask ourselves, is this big enough to round this up? Yes or no?
Yes.
What does this have to be for it to round up, everybody?
5.
Alright, very good. So this is gonna round up. So instead of 29 cents, the answer is going to be
30.
30. And we can write it like this. We can write like 30 cents per pound if you want. Or you can keep it in decimal form and put 0.30 with the dollar sign like that. Okay, either way. Alright, so let's go over to this one now. So look at the next door neighbor. Is 8 large enough to round it up?
Yes.
Okay, so instead of 31, it's going to become
32.
32. Very good. So 32 cents per pound. Alrighty. So which one is the better buy? Remember, better buy meaning the cheaper one. Is it the first or the second? Everybody. First one. Very good. It's 2 cents cheaper per pound. Alright, so we would say that the 3-pound bag for 89 cents is the cheaper way to go. Now you may say, well, Mrs. Doran, it's just 2 cents. Who cares about 2 cents? But it's really more than just 2 cents, isn't it? Because we're talking about per what?
No.
Pound. Okay, think about the Moselle Sanders dinner that they have at Thanksgiving every year. You think they just go out buying a couple pounds of potatoes? They probably buy hundreds and hundreds of pounds of potatoes. So you think about 2 cents per pound, 2 cents per pound, 2 cents per pound, that starts counting up, right? It really starts adding up, and that's a big, huge difference.